All right.
Ready?
It's not going nowhere. Down some. There.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can see my face.
Not that beautiful face.
I moved, so that's why I'm sorry.
Welcome back to the podcast. I am Mo.
And I'm Tiff.
Feels good to be back. Did you realize that we are in our 50s when it comes to these episodes, man?
I was about to say we're 50. Wait, hold up.
In episode years.
Yeah. So sad. Yes, I did.
This is episode 52, I believe. We come a long way. A very long
We've
way.
been doing this since what? 20?
I think 02.
It has not.
Stupid.
I didn't even know you in 2002.
You did, but you didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Just like God wrapped you, He wrapped me too. So how you feel about the last episode?
In reference to?
Everything. You brought a friend out the woodworks, number one.
I did.
She came out of hibernation. Probably won't see her for about another 6 months.
Yeah, that's right.
You know? Yeah, she comes out. She's like, what's that shadow?
Which one? I got.
What's the beaver who gotta see his shadow? Or
Oh,
was
you
it
the
groundhog that gotta see his shadow?
Once a year.
So yeah, we won't see her for a while. It was truly a treat that she was on to give insight. Shouts out to Sister Janae.
That sister. Make it sound real.
Sister Sledge Janae, and for lending us her expertise of spying and getting people out of tough situations.
I was about to say spying. What are you talking?
She said she can find anybody in 2.3 seconds.
She can.
So we appreciate her in so many different ways because a lot of the stories she really tied in. What once was really a untold story became really, it came alive.
Yeah, because we had, a lot. I forgot. I'll be honest. For various reasons. So to have the gaps plugged in.
Well, I know I forgot because I used to do some things.
I know back in the day, and you just didn't remember. I know, it's all right.
This Joe Clark was right. Kills your brain cells.
Stop.
You want to jump? No.
Oh my God.
Kills your brain cells. That's true.
It does.
People,
don't do it.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Gosh. Other than that, I believe it was a successful people looking into our lives from the beginning to where we are now, and then understanding why we are the way that we are.
Yeah. I think that hopefully people understand the dynamics, because a lot of things, and I guess that's why people say, don't ever tell, females don't ever tell the dude stuff because they'll use it against you. But in our relationship, friendship, it has been totally opposite. Like, I was able to tell you every single thing, all of the things.
Dudes do that?
Yeah, dudes be talking. Hey, she, that's what they do. But yeah, the bond that we share, we didn't do that. It was whatever I told you, like, it stayed there, hopefully.
I'm not a tattletale.
You tell.
I don't use things against people, which I think, I kind of despise people who do that, because when people give you their heart, I don't think it's something you should use against them.
Yeah, but that's not everybody though. That's.
It's not me.
No, I'm saying everybody's not like you. Is what I'm saying.
Because when God made me, He said, "This is the one."
I'm done. I can't.
Nah, but it's It's just I guess I don't know if I was raised better than that, or
I think that's what it was though, because if you go back and you look at how you were raised, right? Mommy, granny,
yeah,
and then you also had 3 sisters, so like that's all females, and then surrounded by nieces.
mm.
And so I think in that becomes that sensitivity where if your sister came to tell you something, to confide in you, then guess what? Because you're close. I mean, you're close with your sisters. So I'm pretty sure like that in its own of uh, holding on to, I'm gonna say secrets, but holding on to what you know is important to where, you know what, let me not tell nobody, let me not repeat what you just told me, because I'm a safe place. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
I think I'm just loyal.
Sounds itching.
Somebody scratching you?
Oh,
That's what's up. Yeah, I just believe in being loyal. I mean, yeah. Like,
but everybody ain't loyal. These dudes ain't loyal.
These people are not
I
loyal.
said these dudes.
But people, you just
people,
can't.
Yeah. No, I was singing a song in my head. But
I know, but I was just trying to say people. You trying to say dudes, like, and some unloyal females out here too.
Yeah, it is.
It's just, I think it's just people. But moving right along, I guess the question would be is I was watching this clip this week, and it was talking about, are you willing to go to battle for your spouse? And I think that's why a lot of relationships or a lot of marriages are at the tipping point.
Hold on. Look, girl, what I tell you? If you want bread, ask your brother. That's not my bread. If he don't want to give you none, I'm sorry, but you've had 2 slices of pizza and you've had French fries. Right now, I think you're just being long-eyed.
Yeah.
So if he's saying no, go in there. Should be an apple in there or something. Drink you a little bit more water. You got a couple of minutes before you got to go lay down anyway. Sorry. She's standing there, and so I know people like, why is she looking like that? Because I'm looking at my miniature.
But it's one of the things. Are you willing to fight for your spouse? And I think that is the tipping point of why a lot of relationships and marriages are left uncovered, because we're not covering or going to war for one another. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. We're here now. So, I guess the thing would be, are you, as a light-skinned woman, willing to go to war for your husband? And if so,
you always say I can't fight though.
And if so, in what way are you willing to protect him?
Fuck your child. She's hungry because she's not eating any protein at all.
Which one?
Sure, why not?
So,
am I willing to fight for my husband?
Yeah.
Or fight for you? You are my husband, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. And then you said, what's it? Hello. I know it's
her voice.
It's going. In what capacity?
Well, it looks like I'm left out here to fend for myself.
Cause I hear all this noise, yo. I can't. I'm so like. Oh my God. Hey, can you do that a little more quieter, please? 45, Nicole.
This is life, y'all.
Why is she so
of content creators, podcasters. This is just what it is. I want to keep all this in so you can understand. So you can know if you really want to do this. These are the stuff you have to fight through. Losing your vocals, things in the background. This is where it starts until you actually get an actual studio, and then they'll be at the studio doing the same thing.
They will. Ours, yes. No. So, would I fight for you? Yeah, I would. But I had to. These are the things I had to learn. So before we start doing this thing for real, right? Like being saved for real,
Okay.
That's what I mean. Not like us. I found myself wanting to go to battle, I think, for you a lot in the wrong ways, because there were some things that you had shared with me where it was like I knew the lack, I knew the weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was I can't let anybody take advantage of that. And so when I was seeing it, it was kind of like, oh, yo, hold up. If anybody's gonna say it, it's gonna be me, but you going too far.
Mm-hmm.
And it became more of like a protective thing. And I remember not knowing what to do with those emotions and not knowing what to do with those feelings, because it was, I don't know I knew I was gonna be ugly. Let's put it that way. So now the saved side of me,
praise God,
is I still find I've learned how to not allow my feelings to lead me in those places. But I find myself doing more of a because I used to be sister girl. I know she ain't, and I know, and especially, and I think the biggest fight though usually would come from the attacks of the boys, their parents or their other half. And when those times came, I know that's when I would rise up a lot more, because it was not that you couldn't defend yourself, right? Because you're very capable of doing it, but I was more privy to how the attack was coming, and if one thing led to another, I knew that attack would kind of trickle down into our house. And so once I started learning, I said, like, literally the power of prayer and how to go about doing those things in a more decent way and responding in a decent way, that really did switch up how I now fight for you. And it could be something as simple as, like, if somebody said, I don't know, like, people may say, okay, I'll give you this example, because then this is, so, like, the incident last year that happened at my job, and you were thrown into that situation and had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And so I was like then I was ready, like, I was ready, and I'm sitting up here like, okay, well, the only thing I could do is, not that I don't need my job, but I know that I also have to remain professional in my place of employment as well. And that was a very difficult time for me. And that is being saved, because I now have to fight for my husband, because I'm not worried about me. I'm not worried about my place, but now you're being drugged into something you had nothing to do with. And that I can definitely say was one of the things that really bothered me. And then, there's instances where people say, well, Mo would never allow you. Hold up, wait a minute. How you, like, so I find myself even now in moments like that, because people don't know our relationship. People don't know.
If you watch the last 2
episodes, technically 3. And so in all of that, it just kind of comes full circle, where I was ready to fight in the flesh, and now I know, okay, I got to fight in the spirit for you. But at the same time, I'm learning that even in that, I have to not let people kind of just walk over us any kind of way, just because, they say they sweet, they'll give you the shirt off their back, they'll do da. But yeah, hold on, it's still a limit. Like, I know that there's some times where I have to stand up for you, because you'll do, but then I know that in your doing, and because you will do it, I know that sometimes people will say, well, I'm gonna just call Mo, or I'm gonna just, nah, you're not like. And so I get in those moments like, okay, babe, where you going, what you doing? And that's where sometimes a lot of my questioning come, because that's I know if you do too much, your health then comes into play, and then you have your dizzy spells, vertigo, y'all. And then once that happened, I know that can spiral real quick, depending on how it gets. And see, nobody has to do it.
I'm my vertigo people,
right? And see, nobody does.
We'll
spin completely out. I mean, and not to get it twisted, because we both do. We both have that same problem. But I know that with you, if you don't get your adequate rest, then it has to be, okay, let me step in and make sure babe not doing too much.
Stress management.
Right.
Stress management.
And so teaching myself, though, how to fight with you in a different way now. A lot of my fighting is done silently. It's just praying over you. I mean, the fact that you have to get up early in the morning to go, do
what I do.
Do your job. I know I wasn't gonna say it. I was finna lay it out nicely. You just cut me off, sir. Lost my thought. But getting up, even when you had to get out, or you were coming home from when it was just snowing, like being out, like I know you know how to drive. I know this was nothing to you, but even in pretty much professional. Could have went out there and salted the roads.
Had that joint up.
You could have did all that for everybody.
For the right price, I'd have had that stuff up.
You could have did everybody driveway.
I'd have brought a few cousins down here. Would have went on here and racked up.
I'm not. But in those moments, I've just learned that, hey, in all things, I have to fight with prayer, because I know that I can go from 0 to 1,000 real quick. And I really have to watch that. And that's the one thing that I'm very conscious about, because when I go there, then it gets you there, and then we both, you're trying to get, I'm saying, not that you go there, but we both now are pulled into something where I can just be level headed. Because if I go out the tank, now you got to come in and anchor me.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by, I had to really truly learn how to fight the correct way for you, and not that you can't handle it, because I don't want anybody to think, well, Mo can't handle. Yes, my husband is very capable of handling all the things. However, my job here is to make sure that he also is taken care of, and I'm his helpmate. So if that means I gotta undergird in prayer in certain areas, because he's not always saying what's going on, then I gotta do just that. But I also have to know how to read my husband, and that comes through the relationship that we build. If y'all have watched the last 3 episodes again, then you would understand how that works.
The last 2 episodes, I believe.
Well, the first one that led into those 2.
Well, that was like a pre.
Right, but we still shared some stuff.
So 3 episodes.
That's why I said 3, because I know we shared some. We talked about that though. I can't. 2, 3. I don't know. Just go watch all 3 people.
Go check them out. Jeez, you're sitting there with your orange shirt on.
So how does that make you feel, knowing like, okay, this is how? Because I used to want to fight for you, like
it's like for what though? Fight. But I think for me, and I think it's because I'm from the fighting era, and I think, I don't know, getting saved, if it did a lot to just make me think more. Like, I'm a huge consequence thinker now. Like, okay, if I do haul off and put feet on a person, what is the ramification of that? Like what is going to happen? Because there's always a kickback to whatever you do, and I guess I thank God for this now, because I definitely didn't have it back then, because it was just like, listen, it's on site. I promise you. I guarantee you. When I see you, it's on site. There's no talking. There's no nothing. I used to tell people that it's when I see you. I guarantee you there will be no talk. Won't be no hold up. Let's talk about it. Won't be no nothing. It's on. So I think maturing spiritually.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to understand how to fight. It's it's a way to fight, and then it's a smart way to fight. You ever see them dudes who have studied jujitsu, or just train, so you could be in their face yelling, doing all this, and they're just calm, cool, and collective. And the minute you grab them, they'll put you in a hole so tight you will swear life is about to end. But they're so technical in their defense and also in their offense. Right. They're very intelligent when it comes to, I would say, war, battle. Right. So for me, nothing never came out good when I put my hands to it. Right. Like, I understand now, and I used to hear my mom say it, like, vengeance is the Lord, you know, and I used to be like, yeah, no, I think he's taking too long, because maybe he's using me to slap the dog crap. Maybe he's using me for his revenge. But ultimately, like, I understand it more now than ever, because my only way to fight for you would be, as you said earlier, is with prayer. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, I've learned so much about people being saved. Like, okay, you're upset. Like, this is really not who you are. Like, you're wilding out, because I'm always about, okay, what happened? Like, what happened to get you to this point? Because it's a tipping scale. It just doesn't happen off rip like that. Yeah. It's something that spikes that. So me fighting for you is, I'm always watching you. Even when you don't think I'm watching you, I'm always watching you. Well, that sounds very stalkerish. Yes. But you have to, in order for me to get to know you, like, I have to know your ups and downs, because you change. You change more than me. And this is hairstyles, attitudes. They were like, you change. Me personally, I feel like I've been the same for. Yeah. I've changed as far as in family dynamics and what I want from my family, building more of a legacy, building sustainable wealth, so that it shockwaves and go throughout the whole children. So me fighting for you would be also in a manner of, okay, babe, forget about the kids. Get you some boots. That's me fighting for you. Me checking in on you instead of checking in. Like, you ever notice I don't ask how the kids doing? Because my main focal point is you. Yeah. Like, as long as the kids are living and breathing, I know that they'll be all right. May sound harsh, but ultimately, these kids literally can. I think we've gotten our kids to the point where they can 9 times out of 10 be independent by themselves. Oh, yeah. Not to the point where driving, but they literally monitor themselves. Yeah, they can. They just don't want to, but. Yeah. And if need anything, they'll ask. We don't have those kids that if we go to sleep, the house will be burned down by the time we, you know, and that's just knowing our family, the dynamics of it. But that's why I was asking, like, because I know that in a point, like, I've seen you saved in tight, and like those are the times where I just be like, yo. All right, be quiet. And that's where I gotta go to my father and be like, okay, listen. Right. And you do all the, and I think that's the part though, because you do all the facial expressions, and then I see them and I'm like, okay, he tight. I'm even getting a look.
Okay, now who done did what? And that's just, I think, like I said, because there's still dynamics and things that just what happened?
Hold up, yeah. Don't do that. I control this. You don't control this. I do.
I do that.
Cause I hit the button.
Mm.
And we're back.
Sad. But that's why, but I think too though, cause see, that's the difference. You're more of a easygoing now, and but you have been up for a long time, very very long time.
I've done a lot of rough stuff.
But I'm saying no. What I mean by that is
break it down.
Since 2012 to now, that's 13 years.
Praise God.
You've been very here. Like not in the instance that you have not, been ready to pop off, but you pretty much keep even, and that's what I mean. Me,
you still got some deliverance.
I got a lot of I've come a very long way, but then there's still some things where I'm like, hey, don't try it. And I have to, but it's like you said, with our kids, they're very, self-sufficient. They do. But like, I even have to catch myself in that because I'm like, yo, hold up. Now you wrong kids. And so I think for me, it's just that, I take family serious, and because I know the dynamics and the mannerisms and how all of y'all are, that's where the protective side comes, because we got one kid that's gonna speak up and gonna say what she got to say and be done
for sure.
But then I know then we got one that, when provoked, will say things to defend. But for the most part, like, our kids kind of mimic what they see. And that's why I knew, like, people were like, well, hey, when did you calm down? Well, I had to calm down when I realized I was pregnant with the first girl. Like, I knew how I was, so I knew that the popping off had to come to an end. But I know that it's still there because sometimes, like, it's come up and I've had, okay, I'm gonna go off the cliff today. And so when I do see you in those moments, it's almost like, hey, yo, all right, who did whatever. And so I watch, and in those moments, I've learned to follow you because I'm more of a reactive sometimes, and I don't always think things all the way through. So I've learned to just watch you move and kind of maneuver, and then I follow whatever you do. Okay, he good. All right, so let me. And you've had to tell me, like, babe, you good? I don't need, babe.
Just relax.
And I'm ready. I'm ready to go. But I think that just comes with, like I said, the relationship that we've shared for 19 years, right? 19, yeah, 19, almost 20 years. Next year be 20 years. So that bond that we shared over that time, like, to me, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever, by any means necessary. Like, don't try it, don't push it too far. And that's where I get with you. I'm gonna still pray now. I'm pray, but hey, don't, just because I'm praying and I ain't talking or I ain't doing nothing, don't push it too far. And that's why I find myself with you, because it's like, hey, you're my better half, and if anybody's sidestepping and disrespecting you, that's a us thing, because we're one.
What's disrespect though? Like,
I mean, not that it happens to you, like, I mean, but no, I mean, it's nothing, but that's just when something takes you out of your normal character. For me, that's a problem, because you're very rarely swayed in any of those moments because of how you are. And sometimes I think people just want to try it because let's just see what we can do. How far can we go, or what can we do, or what's gonna make him tick? And I'm like, nah, you don't do that. You don't do that. Don't do it. Because I've also seen the other side of you, outside of them 12 years, 13 years. So I think that's like when you talk about the shift and the change that we had to do, we did it for the betterment so that we one could learn how to fight for each other in a healthier way.
Yeah.
Because we physically unsaved, yeah, we probably did some damage. It would have been bad.
Yeah, everybody locked up.
Everybody be locked up.
That's the part,
right? And ain't nobody to get nobody out.
You know what I'm saying?
So now I think the fact that we have both learned the importance of one, seeking the Father in those moments, and then two, combating that with prayer has made it easier. So we both know how to handle when conflict is brought to the other half, because we kind of talk each other down. I know you talk me down all the time. Well, not all the time, but when it arises, I'll say it that way.
I definitely have to have time. I'll be like, okay. But I also say to myself, okay, what happened that made you react in that way?
Yeah.
Like I always.
That's the question you always ask. Well, what happened?
I say to myself, okay, listen, okay, why did that make you upset? Or why are you like? I'm the person to be like, oh man, I'm frustrated today, or I'm frustrated right now. Okay, right. Let's get past this, because to me, sometimes it's just not worth it. Like I don't like being mad. As Bishop Plies would say, I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah. You know, like, and I'm enjoying life. This is the best life. And yes, it keeps getting better. So I know that there's going to be different things that is going to try to interrupt that. Let me see if he's still gangster. Let me see if he still got it. Trust, it'll never happen. Because I believe it'll never happen. Because I believe if I let it happen, then I lose in that area. Yeah. And that's an area I feel like I can't afford to lose. Right. Because I'm watched and impacting so many different people, even on this platform and off this platform. I can't afford to let them see me at that state of, oh, you gave in to whatever it was that you were fighting. Right. Some things are worth fighting for. Me being angry and frustrated, that type of stuff, I'm just like, it is what it is, because I'm human, which is human nature. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to fight with another human over something that's not even worth it. 9 times out of 10, it's something small. It's a misunderstanding, a disagreement. I'm truly a agree to disagree type of person. And I think I'm just not that competitive anymore either. I think what somebody just said, hey, I hope you like losing. I'm like, yeah, I'm used to both. Yeah. So for me, I don't get puffed up about that. And I try to bring you to that place too. Like certain things are worth fighting for. Legacy is worth fighting for. Making sure that we are obtaining enough knowledge and information to pass on to them. To me, that's worth fighting for. Yeah. Slapping somebody down, that's not because they want to be ignorant this day or ignorant another day. But at the end of the day, like I want to show discipline in every aspect of my life, not just physical, mental, but spiritual, the whole 9.
And it's funny that this came back. I was talking with our oldest, and she and I were, there was an incident that happened yesterday while you were at work. So I'm in here and all I hear is a loud scream, like blood curdling. Yeah. Usually when it's a blood curdling scream, I gotta figure out what's going on. So I'm like, what? And I think I was folding. I don't know what I was doing, but I was stuck. So I'm like, what? So I called the oldest in and I'm like, what'd you do? And she was like, I just threw the remote. And I'm like, why are you throwing the remote? Well, I didn't know. So I'm like, okay. So instead of doing my typical, screaming at them and all of that. I just called both in. Okay, what happened? I just threw the remote at her. Well, she hit mine. Okay. So I'm like, let me just check. Let me look for myself and see what happened. So, I go back, do the feed, and then I see. And it was so, like, it was comedic, but it was also a teachable moment for them that I had to teach, because it was more of a, not like I'm a haul off. Oh, wait, I don't want to do that because that might touch something. But, not like I'm a haul off and I'm pulling back throwing. It was more of a plop at you. Gotcha. But the plop at you came because the youngest, when the oldest thought she was, because I was finna do her hair. So she's thinking when I called her name, it was so I can go ahead and do her hair. So she was like, here's the remote. So now she realized, okay, mommy ain't finna do my hair yet, so I'm coming back to get the remote. But the youngest was like, and then tossed the remote. But the remote didn't hit her. So when she picked the remote up, she tossed it and it like barely tapped the knuckles. And then that's when the blood curdled. Like, how it was a pause, because blood. So, but in that moment, what I taught them is this. I had to go and I had to say, okay, look, cause and effect. Because you threw or you wouldn't give up the remote and then you tossed it, but I didn't hit her. No, but listen though. But because you did that, the next thing was she picked it up and she tossed it at you. You ended up getting a little hurt. By a remote covered in a rubber cover. Like, I had to throw that in there. Meanwhile, the oldest was like dying laughing everything I said. Because, she's like, she knows it's theatrics. Yeah. But then I had the conversation with the oldest, like, hey, but you also can't have the get back. Like, you can't, just because she did something, you don't have to retaliate and come back and do something else to her. Gotcha. But then I also, in the same breath, I had to teach her. But even in that, I said, but if someone is hitting you and they're beating on you, I say, you don't just cower down and let somebody beat up on you. Like, I had to go there, and then, like, it reminded me of this is teaching our kids, like us teaching each other and helping each other learn how to fight this thing the right way. I was able to effectively teach them, instead of how the old age where if somebody do something, pick something, knock the fool out of it, Instead of me doing that, I just said, hey, if someone does something to you, you need to let the adult know, because what you could have done is said, hey, mommy, she tossing the remote at me and making me, grab it or whatever. I said, but in the other instance, if someone is hitting on you consistently, you don't just cower down and let them beat up on you. Like, I had to kind of do that. But think about if that would have been, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, of you not helping me to navigate how to fight, you know what I mean? The believer way versus
the carnal
way. Because I had to even think about how I worded that. Because so many times what we do or what we would have done or what we do now, we teach that to our kids, and then that's the valid. No, don't let nobody just beat up on you. No, granted. And, I told her, I was like, somebody hit you and they hitting on you, you hit them back, you going to get in trouble too, because especially if you're at school. I said, but the other side of that is we'll handle that. But you don't let nobody beat up on you. There's a difference. So
I told you put in that self-defense
Yeah,
class.
definitely. Gotta do that. But I think how we fight in our marriage is so pivotal because not only are we fighting, like, not only am I fighting for you as my husband, but it's a fight for the marriage to make sure, like, the enemy is not coming in with all these different things, because of course we're doing a lot, and we are in a time, I won't say a season, in a time where we're both flourishing individually but also flourishing together. And so with that, it's that combat, and it's the constantly, like, then it returns, all right, babe, I'm not fighting for you, I'm fighting for our marriage, but now I gotta fight for myself because, that thought's there, or this is coming up, or what about. So it was just like the little things. Because like yesterday, I missed you when you popped in, and then you didn't call.
Wow.
like, and you text, but like something that minute,
trash of a husband,
right?
Let me stop.
How dare he not call? And then to go further, it's like, oh, and I don't have the car. So like all of that is horrible.
You could just call an Uber.
I could have. I'm not gonna ride.
Call one of your sisters and say, "Could you take me to the spot real quick?"
But even than that, I had to say, like, I had to check my thinking. No, if Bay hadn't called me and I had to not, and I let it come out, not just thinking it, but also saying it out loud. Hey, y'all, we missed the ride. Daddy came home. We missed it. And then the oldest was like, yeah, it was like 2 times because I heard him in my sleep.
Facts.
So
she's not lying.
But I had to really, and not that I felt some type of way, but I was like, I said, well, y'all, I text Daddy. Daddy hasn't texted back. I said, and usually if Daddy hasn't texted back, that means Daddy's very busy. Like, to say that because somebody else in the mindset that I was like teetering in yesterday, that could have went real wrong. But that's why when I got up, that's the first thing I was like, hey, look, this is where I'm at. This is my mindset. This is why. And then kind of going from there. This is what I'm going to do. I didn't work out yesterday, but still. So it's not only in this having to fight for each other individually, fighting for ourselves, and also fighting for our marriage.
All right. Well, let's bring it home. Let's give some advice to those who are in that marriage, I would say, awkward space.
What do you mean? Explain.
Like, listen. First of all, I don't know how to fight for my husband or spouse because they always, seem like they're running from me, or they, I just don't know them, or, it's kind of like, and I've seen this in the marriages, like, hey, he do his thing, I do my thing type of ordeal. So, give tools to those who need tools. I would say new tools, because if you're using the same tools to fight in this new season, then 9 times out of 10, I think it's funny. Well, it's not funny. Okay, I'm moving ahead. But yeah, give advice to our good family.
Really, I think you just really have to. Sorry, I hate when I do that. Just like when, like how you said you have to study me, or you do the creeper thing and you check me out. But even as wise, like, we have to just pay attention to the subtle things. Like, no, I don't. I think we spent on in maybe the weekend, but it's still not a whole full 24 hours just in each other's presence. We have hours, so in those hours, I'm watching. Mm-hmm. And so I would first say that, like, get in your husband's space. Like, I'm in his space. Hey, babe, where you going? Babe, all right, I ain't heard from him. Let me check and see where the car is. Like, I do subtle things like that. Okay, well, let me text and just say, hey, good morning. Hey, I love you. You beat me to it yesterday though. But that's typically what I do is I do the temperature checks. And so in those moments, if I don't get a temperature check in, I'm still praying. Okay, well, I know my husband's working. He's driving around and he does different runs. So while he's doing that, let me make sure that I'm covering him in prayer. And so he may not even have said something is going on. Like, I mean, it's just, it really is knowing your spouse. And the only way that you can know your spouse is that you got to be in your spouse's space. So yes, we're two different. He does his thing, I do my thing, but we also come together and we do our thing. And I think that's where you have to make that the number one priority. Do your thing, he do his thing, but at some point, as married couples, you got to come together and do togetherness. And in our togetherness, that's where I pick up on, okay, but babe's not good. Or sometimes I'll sit and listen, like the other night when you were talking. Okay, he don't remember. It's okay. But he was just talking and then he rolled over and he went to sleep. And in that moment, huh?
Did it?
Yeah, he did. And in that moment, like, okay, he's not gonna say this is where my mind is, or he's not gonna say,
oh yeah, I was tore up.
Yeah, he didn't tell me I was tore up.
Yeah.
He was just like, oh man, that's tough. Dang, that's okay. That's twice. That okay. So now I know where I need to be interceding.
I think I rolled over.
You rolled
over, shed a few tears, and went to sleep.
And went on sleep.
So
and in that moment, I just made contact and I just prayed because I knew where he was. And so that's where we have to be very mindful, because if you're not following the Over podcast, you really should be following the Over podcast, because some very great nuggets are being dropped, especially when it's coming to men and their emotions and the lack thereof, and how to encourage those emotions. And then those things I've learned to be very sensitive to my husband, because I know at one point I wasn't. It was all, let me tell you how I feel, and then boop, that's it. But now I'm learning, and I think it's coming just too with just growth, and I'm getting older, and I understand now that it is also very important to listen to your spouse, or your significant other when they are talking, and pick up on those little subtle clues, because then that will let you know that space that you need to feel, and the void you need to feel for them, to be able to kind of carry them on until they rebound. Is what I would say. What would you say?
I would say, just like your 9 to 5, or just like your children, it should literally be 10 times more when it comes to your spouse. Because your children will go, your 9 to 5 will go, but the person you said I do to, and you sat across from or stood across from and pledged those vows, is supposed to be always there in the midst of all those transitions. Right. So I would say, get past your ordinary love. Get past the things you ordinary do. If you don't find yourself chasing your spouse, then you got to find out, what are you attached to that is stopping you from running after her or after your spouse?
That's good.
Because at the end of the day, and after it's all said and done and the smoke clears, when it comes to that death do us part, that's the person you should be investing in. Yeah. That's who you should be getting to know daily. I love my kids. I do. You do. They're awesome. They're wonderful in my sight and in God's sight. But when it comes to my wife and the things of her and the things that she needs and the things that she desire, I'm going to put that over them every time. So if you find yourself loving on your kids more than you love on your spouse, that can become your wedge in between your marriage, whether you know it or not. Yeah. But like, well, the baby's young. Listen, I get that. But that baby gonna grow up and be old and dusty, and then they gonna get somebody, then they gonna leave you, and you gonna be sitting in the house like, who are you? I'm the person you said I do to. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that you have to realign your love to the person that you pledge your whole life to. The crazy part is, the thing about the enemy is that he hates when people come together. He hates marriage so much. It doesn't matter if you believe in him or not. He hates marriage. And the funny thing about it is, it doesn't matter if you're saved or not. Mm-hmm. The Bible says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain favor. It didn't say whether if you're saved or not. So if you're finding favor in your marriage, 9 times out of 10, because that's what God said. Mm-hmm. And he's a man that he's not gonna lie. He's not gonna go against what he says in the Bible. But the enemy, Satan, don't matter if you for him or not. You get married, it's war. Yeah. And he gonna be after that unity, that sanctity. So what I say is always, like I said, and you can go back home through the podcast, I will always chase after her. I will always flirt with her. I'm always going to check in on her. Kids be fine. Kids take care of themselves, honestly. Not saying neglect your kids. I can hear that when he's saying neglect the kids. No, because I'm very crazy part is I know her, but the thing is I know them too. I know every one of my kids. How they act when they're in this. And the crazy part, as parents, we just know. But we know more than that than we know about our spouse. And that's the thing that has to change. So, we're glad y'all tuned in. We love that y'all been rocking with us for this 52nd episode right here. Thank y'all for being with us. Thank y'all for encouraging us to get back into this. You know what I'm saying? It is some food reviews that is coming down the pipeline. Trust and believe. I think we might do the food reviews actually in this setting because I'm relaxed. I'm cool. I feel good. I'm able to eat, be fat, and tell you what I think about this food. That we might do some here and then some in the car because we do love the car stuff because we might be can't drive here, get the setup and all that different other stuff. But but look forward to it. Anything you want to say, babe?
No, we did say though for our 100th episode.
100 episode. We are going.
We're gonna go
live. So, and then from there, we're gonna do a lot more live events, a lot more live just sit down Q&As. Because I think a lot of people want to know stuff, but they don't want to ask.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're scared. You know, the only dumb question is the question not asked. That's what the teacher told me. So which is I was like, man, that sounds right. So I asked her, what time is lunch?
You would. I'm like, what time do we go home? What time do we leave?
But we are truly loving this. We are putting the time and the effort, the money in. As y'all see, we have different guests coming on. We have a few more guests coming on too. The guest list is definitely growing, so we're trying to figure out how we're going to do this. Some might be virtual, some might be in-house. We might work on different things, studio, different other stuff like that. Wifey will be off pretty soon, so we'll have some shooting time. Maybe we'll, do a car vlog. Well, not car vlog, but kind of a car podcast, us driving and just talking and doing stuff like that. And we kind of started that way, but we never released those type of stuff. I used to pick y'all up from the daycare and do all the runs and just had a camera on up and running.
Just going.
Yeah, so we might do some stuff like that. But if you are looking for a good remedy for sleep, and a good remedy for great energy, try out this Rise Mushroom Coffee. It is amazing. It is. The kids love it. We love it. It has so much great benefits in it. And if you would like it, it is down in the description.
I think they're waiting on Rise now. So I better go make them some cocoa. That's what they waiting on.
So our kids are waiting on Rise Cocoa, so they can rise
and go to bed.
And rise up in the morning.
Right.
But we love y'all. I am Mr. Mo.
I am Tiff.
Thank you for tuning in, and we love you.